Alrighty, everyone. Welcome into another live edition of the Patriots Beat Podcast here on the CLNS Media Network. I am Mike Kadlick, joined as always by 98.5 The Sports Hub's Alex Barth. Streaming on location from Marco Island, Florida. I'm sunburnt, I'm sun-kissed, just at the beach all day, but I'm back for Mock Draft 6.0, Alex. We got some news to get to, so we can start with that, and then we'll get into Mock Draft 6.0. But first, I want to talk about our friends at FanDuel, who are the sponsors of this show. You got to go to FanDuel.com/Boston, deposit 10, bet 5, and you're all set to start betting with us, $200 in bonus bets. It stinks. I got on the plane the other night, Alex, and I land in Florida. I'm like, let me check some bets. I can't do it here. Can't bet on sports in Florida. So you guys are lucky up there in Mass. So go to FanDuel.com/Boston. Do what I can't while I'm down here. Play some bets for me. Don't bet on the Red Sox, but do go to FanDuel.com/Boston. All right, let's start with some news, and that is, we'll wait on Trace McSorley. We'll go with Dalton Kincaid first. The Utah tight end Dalton Kincaid met with the Patriots on Thursday. He also got a clean bill of health. Not Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. Sorry. He got a clean bill of health from his doctors. 70 passes last year, 890 yards receiving, and 8 touchdowns for the Utes, dealing with a back injury, but sounds good to go, and met with the Patriots. So they are definitely doing their work, continuing to do their work on this tight end class.
Yeah, they are. And I would say pass catchers as a whole, I know some people are getting themselves all hot and bothered about Dalton Kincaid in the first round or moving down from 14, or Dalton Kincaid at 14 or moving down in the first round. I've got to be honest, Mike, I don't see it. I don't think it would be a great pick. Like we've talked about this before. That guy you draft in the first round needs to be a guy that's going to be on the field 70, 80% of the time. And maybe Kincaid can do that. Like everybody kind of points to his numbers as the big boost, maybe more so than just specifically on tape. I think his numbers are a little misleading. If you look at what he put up, I mean, yes, he dominated USC, 16 catches for 234 yards, but he also had a massive game against Southern Utah and then another massive game against Colorado, who is barely an FBS team this year. So it's very sporadic, his production.
Right.
I don't think he has the speed to be like, I see some people saying Travis Kelce. No, he doesn't have that kind of speed. I think he has some upside, but year one, Dalton Kincaid, and again, I believe they have to be focused on 2013. Year one, Dalton Kincaid is not going to give you
2023.
What did I say?
2013.
2023.
Don't focus on that team.
It's probably hotter here than it is where you are.
It is. Yeah, I left and it got hot in Boston. But
2023 Dalton Kincaid, I don't think gives you anything more than 2023 Hunter Henry does or 2023 Mike Gesicki does.
Fair.
So, like drafting him, are you really better? Right? Are you really a better team in the short term? Or did you just replace Hunter Henry? Like, there's upgrades and there's additions.
Right.
Maybe Dalton Kincaid's an upgrade over Hunter Henry in year one. I don't think he will be, but maybe. But he's not an addition. You don't add anything you don't already have. I understand the argument that, hey, well, they still should add a receiving tight end because Henry and Gesicki are in contract years. They're going to need somebody ready to take over. You don't need to add that guy in the top 100. If it's a guy you're going to redshirt, don't draft him in the top 100. Obviously, Zach Kuntz is the guy I love for that role in the fourth round, but you could go further down. A guy like Davis Allen from Clemson, a guy like Cameron Latu from Alabama could also certainly fill that role. If you really feel like you need to invest something in that guy, go get Tucker Kraft from South Dakota State at 76.
Right.
Dalton Kincaid doesn't make them a better team than they are right now in 2023. Maybe in the long term, they're more comfortable at tight end, but so what? In 2023, they need to win this year. They haven't won a playoff game in 4 years.
Yeah, they don't have time to look into the future.
Yeah,
they don't have time.
I don't think that pick makes a ton of sense. And by the way, I'm also out on Michael Mayer, who they've met with. That pick doesn't make them better. Luke Musgrove, to me, is just a worse version of Dalton Kincaid. So if you're going to take Luke Musgrove, at least take Dalton Kincaid at that point. The only tight end.
Yeah, go ahead. This was going to be my point.
The only tight end, not just day one, the only tight end I frankly am interested in them taking in the top 100 is Darnell Washington because he gives them something
100%.
they don't already have. Darnell Washington is going to create a new role in this offense. He's going to play significant snaps, both in terms of the number and, frankly, the importance. He's going to be a big red zone guy. He is the only guy. He's the only tight end, frankly, I think they should take in the top 100. You want to take Zach Kuntz at 107? Go ahead. That pick makes a ton of sense in its own right. Darnell Washington's the only tight end they should take in the top 100. Doesn't mean they won't.
Yeah.
I could see them taking Dalton Kincaid, but it'd be a bad pick.
I agree with you, and I'm like you said, classifying it as pass catchers is huge, right? Because Kincaid's not going to bring a ton blocking wise, much like Gesicki, who clearly it sounds like they think of Gesicki as an extension of the wide receiver room, and so yeah, the only tight end they should really be worried about day 1 or 2 is Darnell Washington. Maybe we take him tonight. We'll see how the board falls, but yeah, I mean what Washington brings as a pass catcher is solid, but his blocking is elite. You talk about Gesicki being an extension of the receiver room. Darnell Washington is going to be an extension of the offensive line room, especially here. So he's someone who would contribute immediately, and Dalton Kincaid certainly probably wouldn't. I mean, certainly probably, quite the oxymoron. But you get the point, right? You have Gesicki, you have Hunter Henry, two guys who are already very good at what they do as a pass catcher, not bringing much to the blocking scheme. Kincaid's not really going to do that either. So we'll see what happens, but I thought that was a visit to definitely bring up and, chit chat about. The other news, the signing, Trace McSorley. I'm sure you're already singing the TikTok song.
It's stuck. It's not TikTok. This is pre-TikTok, you child.
Okay. Oh,
this is from YouTube. If you know what we're talking about, look up Matty Fresh, Trace McSorley on YouTube. When he was at Penn State, they wrote a rap song about him. And look, I'll say this. I don't think Trey McSorley's that good at football, but that song slaps. It just does.
Yeah, it does.
I've probably listened to it 10 times in the last hour and a half.
Oh, God. You poor thing. Your poor ears. Well, like I said.
Come on. That's a great song.
Yeah, but now it's stuck in your head. Earworms.
Oh, it's very much stuck in my... But,
yeah, exactly.
I can't... Forget hearing this song. I can't hear the name Trace McSorley.
Right.
And even if it's not from the song, I'm just, watching the game and coming in at backup, Trace McSorley, and then I just hear just a kid from Briarwood wearing number 9.
Yeah.
It's just like that. It's that easy. Gets in that easy.
Speaking of, like you said, it was while he was at Penn State. There's a connection there with Bill O'Brien. So, again, those of you who don't know, the Patriots signed their third quarterback today. So, no Lamar Jackson. I saw that from Fitzy today. I thought that was hilarious. But McSorley played with
former backup.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a connection there too. But played with Baltimore, like I said, played with Arizona. He was recruited by Bill O'Brien while he was at Penn State.
Where did you see that? I've been trying to find that to confirm.
I think Zach Cox.
Zach corrected it.
Okay.
He never got an offer from Penn State. What happened was he was a 3-star recruit at Briarwoods High School in Northern Virginia. And there were some 6'1", 180. Wasn't big enough. And there were some teams looking at him as a safety. Most Division I teams wanted him to come play safety because he's very athletic. And I don't know for sure. Penn State might have been one of those teams when O'Brien was there. What happened was James Franklin, or the quarterback's coach at Vanderbilt, whose name I can't remember, but someone on James Franklin's staff kind of pitched him on, hey, if you come to Vandy, we'll let you play quarterback, which no other Division I school is going to let him do. And so he committed to Vanderbilt when Bill O'Brien left. And then, so that was that spring, Bill O'Brien left for the Houston Texans. Penn State hires James Franklin, and Trace McSorley flipped to Penn State. He always wanted to go to Penn State. So he grew up a fan, but he never got an offer. I don't know whether or not Bill O'Brien recruited him. I've been trying to figure that out. I will say, if Bill O'Brien recruited him, I bet it was as a safety. I don't think it was as a quarterback, because that's what most schools were doing. So I've seen some people try to rationalize this as a Bill O'Brien signing. I don't think that's it.
Maybe not.
I really don't know why they signed him. We all expected them to add another veteran quarterback after Brian Hoyer, but he's played 4 years in the league, but he's not a veteran. He's thrown 90 passes. He's only played in 2 systems. I think he's probably here as a scout team guy to help them prepare for mobile quarterbacks. But why not?
But that's what Garrett Gilbert was here for. So it doesn't make sense. Yeah, right. That too.
Right. Why not do that in the draft? I'm not, outside of the fact, maybe Bill's just a big Matty Fresh guy and the song was stuck in his head today. But outside of that, I'm really not sure exactly what this signing is other than maybe just a camp arm. Maybe they know they're going to draft somebody. They don't feel like they need the veteran.
Yeah.
And because they usually like to have 4 quarterbacks in camp. So here's your 4th quarterback. But I don't know. I feel like in Mike Reese had it when they cut Brian Hoyer that they were going to want to fill that veteran role. And I just either they don't do that or they don't draft somebody at this point. Or, I mean, maybe they go with 5 quarterbacks, but that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, again, I guess they have some OTAs coming up prior to the draft or some, activities and whatnot. So maybe it's having a guy in here before that. But for what, 2 weeks?
No, none of that's prior to the draft.
I don't know.
There's no on-field stuff prior to the draft.
Oh, there's not? It's all just internal?
It's meetings,
like workouts?
Yeah, it might be like walkthroughs, but it's not. Yeah.
Then it doesn't make any sense. It's a strange signing in itself. Like, especially you bring up now no connection to Bill O'Brien. Garrett Gilbert would make the most sense again for the camp arm who has been here a while. Again, if you're going to go draft someone, do that. But yeah, it's odd. We'll see what happens. Maybe he has a chance. Right. But
he's not.
It's a funky one, so.
He's not experienced enough to be that Brian Hoyer mentor role.
Right.
But he doesn't have the upside.
And he doesn't have experience in the system either. Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, all right, so they were going to add 1 or 2, right? Either young guy maybe with some upside or a veteran mentor. He's not nearly old enough or experienced enough to be the mentor. And he's too old and he doesn't have the upside to be a potential guy. He's just sort of here. And yeah, I don't think he never played for Bill O'Brien. Maybe Bill O'Brien recruited him lightly. He's never played for him.
Right.
Right. He was James Franklin the whole time at Penn State. And then he was in Baltimore and he was in Arizona. So he's more familiar with Cliff Kingsbury's offense than he is with.
That would have made sense.
With Bill O'Brien's. If it's Cliff Kingsbury, it makes a ton of sense.
USC QB coach now.
Right. But yeah, I don't. So like I said, most teams recruit him as a safety. Maybe he's not here to play quarterback. That makes as much sense as anything I can think of.
Yeah, an interesting one. But we'll see where it goes. All right, let's get into it. Mock draft 6.0. I am putting in the chat the Google Doc so you all can follow along pick by pick. We will have Alex, or we can pull up the draft board itself. We also have to go.
Yep. Yeah, we should have that. Yep.
Cool. All right, sweet. So let's get right into it.
We're not trading up. Let's see how this goes. I'll slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so we got Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, Will Levis. So I saw a report today the Colts have Will Levis ahead of Anthony Richardson. Good freaking luck with that one. Enjoy picking a quarterback again in 2 years. So far, board is falling well for the Patriots. Tyree Wilson, Christian Gonzalez, Anthony. Was it on this show I said that or some other show? This is where Anthony Richardson should end up if he wants to be a star. That's the best landing spot for him.
Yeah, I agree. So Christian Gonzalez is gone.
Yeah.
He's not going to fall out of the top 10, but Kuiper had him falling to 14 last week in his mock draft. I thought that was interesting. They've done work on him, but he's not going to get to 14.
Yeah, I don't see it. Lucas Van Ness, way too high for him. Has Oh yeah, Will Anderson went. Okay. All right, Skoronski to the Eagles. Here comes the run on tackles. Paris Johnson. They're not going to trade this pick. Here's the thing. At this point, Houston's not trading this pick. They're just not going to. They have too many needs. And the Jets aren't going to let the Patriots move up, especially not for tackles. So
yeah. So
it looked like okay, maybe we're going to get a shot. All these tackles are falling here. It might look like this on draft night, but you have, I don't know that the Eagles are tackle needy. Titans, Texans, and Jets all very much are.
Yeah.
So there is a chance it's starting to look
like the jump you're going to take, right?
Right. It's starting to look friendly for the Patriots at tackle, and then it's very much going to fade very quickly. There's a real chance it happens. Maybe 11 is their best chance to trade up, but neither of these picks are getting moved. You're going to have to overpay more than it's going to be worth to move up to 12 or 13.
You have some friends. I know, what's his name? Schneider. That was the he's not there anymore, but you still have Vrabel there, who we also forgot to mention the Hall of Fame. But
that's right. Who are you voting for?
I think I got to go with Vrabel.
I
like I like Parcells, but Mankins will get in, but I don't think he's like it's dire to get him in. I feel like Parcells and Vrabel both need to get in. Vrabel's been on the. Go ahead.
I voted for Vrabel. Mankins should get in before Parcells. Most of the Dynasty era guys should, even though Mankins never won a ring. It would also be very cool to see Mankins and Scar get in together and have like an offensive line.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So,
but it's kind of that's bizarre that Logan Mankins never won a ring for as long as he was here and for how good he was.
Well, he was here 05 to 13. He missed it
a
year on each end. It's the reverse crazy. Vince Wilfork.
That's wild. All right, 14.
All right, and then we had Quentin Johnson and JSN go with those two picks, which I think you probably see JSN to Houston, especially, here they took CJ Stroud, you reunite them. It's probably high on Quentin Johnson, but whatever. All right, so we still have Devin Witherspoon on the board.
And Joey Porter, probably, right? Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid, Deontay Banks, Brian Branch, Joey Porter, Darnell Wright, Brian Brisset, Nolan Smith, Miles Murphy, Anton Harrison, Will McDonald. We do have Broderick Jones and Zay Flowers. And Bijan. We haven't done a mock where we've traded for Jerry Jeudy yet, have we?
No, I don't think we have.
Do we want to make a pick here, or do we just want to trade this pick for Jerry Jeudy?
Is that still in the cards? Draft night trade for Jeudy? I think so, right?
I think it's possible. Because there's no rush for the Broncos to do it. So why wouldn't you wait until draft night at this point, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So
are we going 14 straight up, or are we going to have to juice this thing up a bit?
I think 14 straight up. The question basically becomes, are we going to take a receiver here or no? Because if we're not going to take a receiver, then all right, you could talk me into tackles a bigger need, corners a bigger need. If we're going to take a receiver here, I'd rather trade it for Jerry Jeudy.
I agree. Who's available for receivers? Zay, Josh Downs?
Yeah, it's Zay and Addison at this point. So to me, it would be, like I said, I don't think they're going to take Dalton Kincaid this high. They're not going to take Kalijah Cansey. I don't think they're going to take Brian Branch. Mm-hmm. Devin Witherspoon, Joey Porter, Broderick Jones. Those are, I think, the three top guys on the board here.
There's also a decent amount of talent on the board where we can still trade back.
We could also trade back. We got 9 teams calling. Lions calling from 18. Bucks calling from 19. Seahawks calling from 20. Chargers 21. We could all right, who's coming up? There's really only one tackle team between us and the line, or no, it's really corner teams. What are the odds we think Broderick Jones, Joey Porter, and Devin Witherspoon are going to go in the next 4 picks? All 3 of those guys.
The Packers are going to take Kincaid.
Yeah, or Mayer, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, am I breaking up a little bit?
No, you're good. You're good.
Or am I fine? Okay, sounds good. I'm
going to pull this up real quick. I say so too, but I'm going to pull this up because it's a very favorable board. Trade back, then move the pick for Jeudy. You can't do that because what the Broncos are going to say is, well, no, you had the 14th pick. We want the value of the 14th pick. They're going to want everything you got for trading back.
Right.
So that's not the Broncos are going to be like, what do you think we are, stupid? You can't do that. As nice as that sounds, you can't do that. And one other thing I want to bring up here, since we're on the topic of Jerry Jeudy, where was it? Somebody, was this it? Nope, that's not it. Although it's going to take 14 to get Jeudy. Here it is. 7 drops for Jeudy. He's no one. Jerry Jeudy's drop rate, yes, he had some trouble with drops early in his career, but drops are a major, it's a bit of a misleading stat. Jerry Jeudy's drop rate last year, well, I got to pull it up. It was an issue from early in his career, but his drop rate last year was 5%. He dropped 5% of 100 targets he got. On the other hand, because he's going to drop, people think he drops a lot of balls because he gets thrown the ball a lot. So they see more drops in terms of the number, but a 5% drop rate. Julian Edelman's drop rate over his last 3 years in New England, because that's when it's tracked, was nearly double that. It was 9%. So You can't say Jerry Jeudy drops too many passes. He drops a lot of passes because he gets thrown a lot of passes. The percentage of passes he drops, well, then you have to tell me that Julian Edelman's one of the worst receivers in NFL history. You have to start calling Julian Edelman Mr. Butterfingers,
right?
Which nobody's going to do. So if you don't like Jerry Jeudy, that's fine. There's durability concerns. There's size concerns. Drops are not a real issue when it comes to Jerry Jeudy. That's a fallacy. I truly believe that.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I still don't think he's worth 14. I don't. I think I'd rather trade our second.
But here's the thing.
Else.
I don't necessarily think he's worth 14 either, but I think that he's ultimately worth whatever the market dictates. And if the market dictates he's worth the 14th pick, then that is ultimately what he's worth. The Broncos don't need to trade him. They can ask for too much. I would say in terms of Patriots, like I just said this, if you're going to take a corner tackle, take a corner tackle. Right. Don't trade for Jerry Jeudy if you're going to take a position of need. But if it's Jerry Jeudy or Zay Flowers at 14, the player we're all hoping Zay Flowers turns into 3 years from now is just Jerry Jeudy. Like the skill sets match up. And if you're going to say, well, Jerry Judy's older, only by 16 months, even though he's been in the league 3 years longer, he's only 16 months older than Zay Flowers. And if you're going to say he's cheaper, we still have him on the rookie deal this year. And then you have the 5th-year option, which is more expensive than the rookie deal, but not as nearly expensive as a premier wide receiver contract. So he doesn't really get expensive until 2025. And if you're worrying about it, if you don't want a guy because he's going to be too expensive 3 years down the road, which is an eternity in the NFL, you're kidding yourself. So there's no reason to draft Zay Flowers at 14 instead of trading that pick for Jerry Jeudy. If you want to trade back, take Zay and add picks, yes. If you want to take a tackle or a corner or an edge rusher at 14, sure. I understand not wanting to trade that pick. If you're going to straight up take a pick at 14, straight up take a receiver at 14 instead of trading that pick for Jerry Jeudy, that makes zero sense whatsoever. I'm just saying.
While I agree, I don't think at this point I don't think they'll take receiver here. I think they're going to go elsewhere. So I still think in this scenario, we trade back. I don't think we trade 14 for Jeudy. I think, and I see this in the chat, a 2nd and a 4th makes more sense for Jeudy. I don't think they're going to trade 14 for Jeudy.
But you're not going to get him. You're not going to get him at that point because the Broncos don't need to trade him.
That's fine. I still don't think you're getting I still don't think the Patriots will end up trading 14 for Jeudy. I think that's too rich of a price. So,
all right, so this is probably about the pick. Yeah, this is probably about the trade here. I know they have, we'll throw on one of these later picks just because we're going to end up with too many.
Okay.
This is probably about the trade here, right? Moving back 4 spots. It's not enough to get 48. If we get 55, we get another 2nd round pick. So, I think that's probably the trade there. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, move back.
All right.
Cool.
And Broderick Jones, Devin Witherspoon, Bijan Robinson. So we lost the tackle. We lost Devin Witherspoon.
Okay.
So is it Joey Porter here? Now, I think they might go to that 2nd tier of the tackle class and say, we want to tackle. This is the best tackle on the board, and we've added value. I could see Darnell Wright as the pick here.
Right.
I can still sort of see Brian Branch. I think that's pretty much it at this point. If Nolan Smith was on the board, I'd say maybe Nolan Smith, but obviously we just got jumped for him.
Okay. So, here's my input.
Yeah.
What is 18 too rich for Darnell Washington? Because
probably.
Again, they're not going to take Kincaid. Kincaid's still there. Not that they're not going to take him, but Washington just makes much more sense because he adds value now. Kincaid, Mayer, even Zach Kuntz. I mean, they're not going to take Kuntz at 18, but that type of tight end doesn't add value now. The one that does is Darnell Washington. So, do we maybe, with Kincaid still there, with Mayer still there, I guess maybe we don't go Washington here. We take
and I'll tell you this,
Wright, and then we can move up if we want to for a guy like Darnell Washington.
And that's the key. Miguel from Pat's Cap had this stat, and I don't remember exactly what the number was, whether it was 3 or 4, but Patriots have traded up in the 2nd round 3 or 4 years in a row. So spoiler alert. We're still going to have a chance to take Darnell Washington.
Yeah, all right.
But I can say Darnell Wright. I can see them really liking Darnell Wright. And you know what? So Darnell Wright, combo tackles, started at left, then moved to right. Probably a right tackle in the NFL, but he's shown enough that he's good. You're going to be able to give him a look at left tackle in the NFL. Big guy, 6'4", 333, multi-year starter. I forget his 3 or 4 year starter. All this information is literally right here. I might as well just click on it and inform the people, right?
There you go.
3-year starter, and you can see it here. He played right tackle, then moved to left tackle, then moved back to right tackle. The other thing they are going to love, and this is a specific Patriots draft trend, right? They look at how did you do against top competition. They don't care what you did in your throwaway game against an FCS team. Darnell Wright owned Will Anderson, who's a top 5 pick in this draft. They're going to look at that tape and say, here is how he looks against an elite NFL talent. He holds up. That's a guy that can play for us. That, to me, they're going to like him. All right, so we're going to go Darnell Wright.
So the chat's blowing up telling us we need to take a corner here, Alex.
I don't think they think corner is as big of a need as we all do. Here's the thing with corner.
I feel that way. I feel that way about tackle, though. And I still think they would end up taking right here, but I think they don't think tackle is as big of a need.
I don't think so. I agree with you on that, but I think they think it's a bigger need long term. Here's the difference between the two. I think that they don't see tackle or corner as big of a need as we do, but there's an old draft idiom. You actually draft a year ahead. So which would be like draft for the 2024 team. Trent Brown, Riley Reef, Connor McDermott, all on expiring contracts. So if they're weighing it, do we go tackle here? Do we go corner here? Marcus Jones is still signed. Jack Jones is still signed. Jonathan Jones is still signed. None of your tackles are.
And the way they drafted last year with guys like Marcus Jones and Jack Jones, they were drafting for this year at corner. So those guys, in theory, have a role now. Yeah, okay.
And the other thing to keep in mind is I don't think they need more of a certain type of corner. They just need size. They don't need a guy who's going to be at the top of the day. Maybe you think they do. I think they do. I think that they like the rotation at corner. And they just need a big body to be a matchup guy. I don't think they need a true number one. So
they like the amoeba defensive backfield.
Exactly.
Where you can play everybody everywhere.
All right. So we're going to go Darnell Wright here.
Yeah, let's go Darnell.
At 18. Yep. And then let's see where these tight ends go. All right. So there goes all the receivers. All right. So we got Kincaid and Mayer back to back.
Okay.
The next tight end team is probably the Cardinals at 34. So I think that's probably the spot. Let's see.
Can you scroll back up? Sorry, I was updating the.
So we had Kalijah Cansey went to the Bucs, Deonte Banks to Maryland, Joey Porter the Chargers. That pick makes just an insane amount of sense.
Addison went too.
Zay Flowers the Ravens. That's another pick that makes an insane amount of sense. Jordan Addison to USC. These are all very logical picks. This is a very good mock. Yeah. Normally PFF's kind of all over the map. All right, they kind of lost me here with Miles Murphy. Brian Branch makes sense. Brian Brzee makes sense. This one makes no sense. Dalton Kincaid to the Bills. Michael Mayer to the Bengals makes all the sense in the world. Saints need everybody. All right, let's see here. And then we got DeJuan Jones, the Eagles. Makes, I guess, some sense. Adibare to the Chiefs. Yep, I could see that. All right, now we hold on tight. Cam Smith to the Steelers.
Cam Smith, okay.
Osiris Torrance to the Texans, and here we go. So this is where we make the pick. And we all know what the trade is, right? It's the Kyle Duggar trade, as we like to call it. 2nd and 2/4 to move up. We all in agreement? I'm sure the chat's not, but
no. And Arizona's the team to do it with too, with Monty out there.
So okay, I misspoke before when I said the Cardinals are the next tight end team. I meant the Colts. The Colts are the next tight end team, so the Cardinals were the pick we needed to get to because
exactly.
This makes
and there's a relationship there that.
Sorry, Monty awesome for it, right, with the Cardinals.
Yes,
it's a good. I cut you off. I get way too excited during the mock draft, so if I cut you off, cut me back off. This not just because they need a tight end, but the play style and everything. And did they take Richardson here? They took Will Levis. They blew it. If they take Richardson like they should. Richardson and you put Darnell Wright in there and you start running QB or Darnell Washington in there, you start running QB power. Oh, that's going to be tough to stop. So if you want Darnell Washington, 35 to me is where it gets very real. So this is the pick you're going to need to trade up and get him. And that's what we're going to do.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yep. And I just want to, before we make the
Give
pick,
it to me.
3, 4, 5,
this
6,
is my favorite
7, 8,
pick.
9.
We haven't
we're
done
9
it yet,
picks.
and here we go.
So we're going to need to add a pick at some point. Do you want to do your Darnell Washington spiel first, and then I will?
Yeah, ever since I started watching film on this guy, I was like, okay, this is just such a perfect fit because they love to have the versatility there. He's a solid pass catcher, but his run blocking is absolutely lethal. He just runs guys over in the open field. Thank you, Jason. We appreciate the input, and thank you for watching.
I wasn't even trying to pull that one up.
Washington is. No, he's just, that's hilarious. No, he's awesome, right? Because he's a solid pass catcher, but his run blocking is just lethal. He's an extension of the offensive line. They're going to be able to use him in the run game because you can't use Henry and Gesicki in the run game, really. They're just not good blockers, but they're great pass catchers. So you have a three-headed monster at tight end now. I just think it makes a ton of sense for what they want to do offensively.
And I think, too, there's certain guys in the draft, like the people who really want Dalton Kincaid or really want Michael May or really want Luke Musgrave. What I would tell you is there, as much as we fall in love with some of these players in the draft, right? You can get them next year. Like, as talented as these guys are, I don't mean this to take away from anybody in the NFL. They're all tremendously talented, but there's only a certain number of skill sets, right? At a certain point, they're going to repeat. So, if you miss on, if you're really worried about missing on Dalton Kincaid, go look up Cade Stover from Ohio State, who's going to be in the draft next year. You'll feel a lot better. And I know Brock Bowers in the draft, but it's a top 5 pick. They're not going to be able to get him. They're drafting that high. It's a quarterback. There are maybe 4 or 5 guys every year that you can't say that about, that are unicorns, that if you want that player, you have to take that player now because you're not going to get him. Jordan Davis last year. Tariq Woolen.
Kyle Pitts 2 years ago. Unicorns. You're not going to get those guys elsewhere. As much as I love Zach Kuntz, I don't know that he's a unicorn. He's close. I don't even know that he's there. Darnell Washington, unicorn. Yeah.
6'7", 270, 4.6 speed, blocks like a tackle, high points the ball like an elite receiver. You can't just say, well, we'll fill that need next year. You're not going to be able to, right? If you want the like hybrid receiver tight end, you can fill that next year. You can even fill it later, maybe with a high upside guy like Kuntz. Darnell Washington, you can't draft Darnell Washington next year. You just can't do it. If you want him, you got to get him now.
Yeah, do it.
All right, so I'm going to bring up one more comment here before we keep going. Somebody brought up the trade point system, and that's fair. There's charts that kind of show how much value each pick has. A couple things I say that. One, I do normally use that. I have tried to stop using it on the show because it slows the show down because I got to go through and do all the math. The other thing is teams don't always follow the chart. What I like to use is what I think is more valuable, honestly, is I like to go back and find past trades that have been done around the same range. So that's why I mentioned the Kyle Duggar trade. Or not the Kyle Duggar trade, the Christian Barmore trade, where the Patriots, they trade a second and 2 fourths to move up into the second round. They move up about 8 spots. This one, we moved up a little more. We moved up 12, but the 2 fourths we traded are higher than both fourths the Patriots traded back when they traded for Christian Barmore. So I'm using past precedent there. I'm not using the chart, full admission. All right, Darnell Washington's the pick. And I see everybody talking about
double Darnell.
Yep. I see everybody talking about what we should do at 76. We have 55 because we moved back. I am going to speed this up though because we're not going to trade back again. At least not right now.
So did Josh Downs just go?
He went to the Falcons and they got him and they got Anthony Richardson. Even in fake drafts, the Falcons are so good at this.
Josh Downs was going to be my guy at 55 if he was there.
So, all right, we're going to look at 3 things. We're going to look at wide receivers, we're going to look at corners, and we're going to look at edge rushers here. And I'll do linebackers and defensive linemen too because they're all mixed together. All right. So I really like Tui Pelotu for them. I do. Mike, I know you like him too because you like all the USC guys.
Exactly. Yes. Right on.
Oh, this would be a great spot for either Tyreek Stevenson or Julius Brents, though. It really would.
Julius Brents.
And then, you see if one of these edge guys maybe falls to 76, Isaiah McGuire, Tuilopu's not going to fall, but, maybe a guy like KJ Henry. At wide receiver, I'm not wowed by anybody. Like Tank Dell makes some sense, but
I'm not huge on Dell.
I'm not going to reach on him.
I haven't turned the corner again yet.
Yeah. So
the Tank Dell stock was sky high for a while, and then he just kind of ate it at the combine, to be blunt. And people seem to kind of be coming back around on him after his pro day and everything. But I'm not as impressed as I was prior to testing and everything. So I think it's early for him.
Somebody asked about Emmanuel Forbes. He went 37th. We never shot at getting him. I think it's Tuipulotu or Brents. Or we've taken Brents already, right? Haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
All right. So for the sake of this, we're going to pretend he's not on the board because we try not to double up on guys. So we're going to say it's Tuipulotu or Stevenson as the pick. Second round corner.
We took Stevenson before as well.
All right. So then Brents.
Tell us about Tuipulotu.
Tuipulotu, highly, highly productive edge rusher from USC, best player in their defense. Stout guy, wins with power more than speed. He can play on all three downs. He played on all three downs in college. I think eventually in the NFL, he'll be able to play on all three downs. He probably comes in just as a pass rusher, but he's a guy that maybe gives you some depth on the interior as well. I think he could be a guy that could rush from the inside, maybe 3-tech. Just a really well-rounded defensive end, and they love them a well-rounded defensive end. So I think he has some real upside. I do. I'd be frankly a little surprised if he's still on the board here. I don't think it's unrealistic. I mean, who went ahead of it? Like, I think he'd go ahead of Benton, Keanu Benton from Wisconsin. I'm just looking at defensive linemen here or edge rushers. So he kind of I think he'd go ahead of Ojulari. I'd take him ahead of BJ Ojulari, who went 36. Not a ton of edge guys went, so that's probably why he's here. The position just kind of fell off. Okay. I could see it, but this is a spot where I think they're going to want their corner, especially because a bunch of corners went, and it's getting a little thin at corner here, and you're going to want to make sure you get that guy. So, Brent's, if you don't know at this point, 6'3", 205, tested great at the combine, especially the agility drills. I say 6'3" corner, people's minds instantly go to Juwan Williams. Look at his combine numbers side by side with Juwan Williams. They are astronomically better. He's not like a burner. He ran a 4.5 40. It's not ideal, but you're not drafting him to cover Tyreek Hill. You have guys that can do that. He shouldn't need to cover speed guys. You have Jonathan Jones, you have Marcus Jones. You're good in that regard. You're drafting him so when you play the Raiders and you play Devontae Adams, when you play the Bengals and you play T. Higgins, you don't have to put a 5'8" corner on one of these big receivers. That's his matchup. And they need that guy.
Even Stephon Diggs, who has burned John Jones for a while now. I mean, I know Diggs is a little bit quicker, but
but you know what?
Brents makes up for that in size anyway. So
he's also going to be
I trust Brents over John Jones there.
And he's going to be able to give Diggs the business at the line of scrimmage, which none of their current corners can.
Exactly.
So
totally, 100%.
Julius Brents.
This is the guy who's not your he would in theory have a chance to be your CB1, but this is the tall, aggressive, athletic corner that we're talking about to add to this amoeba defensive backfield.
Well, look, I think he has the upside to be a number one corner. I do, but in 2023,
I would agree.
Right away, he's going to contribute rotationally. We talked about it when we were on the board with the first pick, Mike, right? They want kind of a mix and match secondary where they can just go off the matchups. And Brent's total matchup corner. So, we're going to take Julius Brents, and then we have actually one more top 100 pick still down at 76. And a lot of people want us. Oh, man. This run of wide receivers. Look at this. I'm not a big Rashee Rice guy, but Tyler Scott, Tank Dell, Marvin Mims. I would take a Marvin Mims here if he was on the board, Mike. I really would.
Yeah, I think so too.
Who's still
Let's reset.
Let's reset, and I'm going to kind of look around. He has nobody here at wide receiver now. Drops off hard after that. Go ahead, reset the board. Yeah.
All right, let's do it. As I fill in Julius Brents. And like I said, I'm on vacation, so I don't have my second screen, so I'm not looking at you guys, but you can see my screen, everything correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, we traded down from 14 to 18 and picked up Darnell Wright, tackle from Tennessee, a guy who played both sides of the ball at Tennessee and would fill into this rotation and tackle that they've sort of built here. Would probably end up being their day one starter, realistically. Traded into the second round again for Darnell Washington. We started with 2 Darnell W's, a guy who is just a freak at tight end. He's the best run blocker in the class. He's a solid receiving option as well. He blew it out of the water at the NFL Combine. So a guy who is absolutely, in my opinion, a first-round graded guy, a first-round pick. They'd be lucky to get him at 34, and they do it here. And then with 55, they go Julius Brents, a guy who they can plug in the rotation immediately. A corner, tall, aggressive, something they desperately need at the position. They're going to use John Jones, who they just re-signed, and Jalen Mills, who they just re-signed, and Jack Jones and Marcus Jones. They're going to use them everywhere, all across the defensive backfield. So just another added addition to the room right there at 55. So it makes a ton of sense, I think. I like the first 3 picks, Alex. I do. You got the double Darnells, you got Julius Brents, and I think it fills some needs. So that's where we're at.
So somebody wanted to look at the whole board. We can do that. Not taking Tanner McKee, Garrett Wilson, slot corner. I know a lot of people like Nick Herbig. He's not a center for them. I just don't see. Have you watched him? I don't see it.
Yeah.
Oh, did we lose you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Have you watched Nick Herbig at all? I just don't see it for them.
Not enough, but from what I have seen, it's not a pick at 76. They don't need to spend a top 100 pick at this point on Herbig.
THT again, slot corner. I know some people really like Michael Wilson. He gets hurt so much. If he's still there, maybe in the 100s, we talk about it. But a guy that's played 14 games in the last 3 years, it's risky. That's really risky this high. Anthony Johnson Jr., 4-year starter, safety from Ohio State. Jordan Battle's not going to be here. This is a respecting the board thing. If Jordan Battle's here at 76, you'll grab him. He's going top 50. Jamie Robinson. So Jamie Robinson would be an interesting safety pick, but I don't think they leave the top 100 without an edge. And Mike, I really like Derek Hall from Auburn. Big, physical, nasty edge setter, plows through blockers. Also, everything you read about him, he's a team captain, high character guy, doesn't quit, all of that. Who else is there? A.T. Perry, I don't love. And cut me off if you think I'm wrong about somebody. Clark Phillips, slot corner.
Is Jonathan Mingo here?
Let's see. I do like Dwayne McBride for them, but it's too early there. Jonathan Mingo is still here.
He's here.
I don't like.
I like it.
I'm still not in as much as everybody else.
I know you don't like him. He's a good player. I think there's a chance that he's there at 117, and they could take him there. And I think you're right about the top 100 with Derek Hall. I think they're not going to want to leave the top 100 without one. Drafting for next year, like you said, Uche in a contract year.
Right.
Judon just another year older. He's still dominant, but I don't think they're going to end up signing Uche to the extension. So I agree with the edge.
And by the way, Sidney Brown, Jordan Battle, not going to be here. Jamie Robinson, maybe.
Yeah.
These two are going top 50, and I think Robinson's going to go higher than projected because the board drops off after him. I think Derek Hall's the pick. I really do. Who else? I mean, we've taken Byron Young before. I could see Byron Young here too, but I like Zach Harrison. But Derek Hall, I'm just going to read you from his NFL.com scouting report. First off, the first line, first 2 lines. Team captain with tremendous character, possesses NFL caliber aggression and toughness. And then a quote from a scout from an AFC team. He's tight-limbed and he's more segmented than you want, but he's tougher than shit, and he's going to be a great fit in your locker room. That's a Patriot.
Perfect.
They'll coach the tightness out of him. That's a Patriot.
You said that was from an AFC scout?
Yeah.
He's probably a Patriot scout.
Could be. All right.
Could be.
We're going to add on the edge here. We're going to go Derek Hall. And, man, people are furious we haven't taken a wide receiver or safety. So we're going to take a look at that when we get on the board here.
It just was mentioned by Mike Reese this week that they consider Gesicki an extension of the wide receiver room.
Right.
They just signed Juju. They expect more out of Tyquan this year. Kendrick Bourne is still there. Look, I'm not gung-ho on the receiver room. I think they can make improvements. If they go with Zay, if they go with Jackson Smith-Njigba, it's massive for the room. But I think they think they're okay right there right now. And I think, like I said, they're going to use Gesicki. They're going to use Hunter Henry. Bourne. Parker's still there. So, they don't have the true number one guy, but they have a bunch of guys across the board that I think they're going to kind of want to, move into the mix. And maybe if it doesn't work again, or if they make the trade for Jeudy, or if they somehow get back in on Higgins, right? Like, I don't know. I don't think they do need receiver here, right? But it's okay that we're picking one at 117.
Yeah. And by the way, I missed Jartavius Martin there because he's listed as a corner. He'll go top 100 as well. And he was gone. So we did miss Jonathan Mingo at 113. This is another big time run right before Noah Sewell, Henry To'o, Jonathan Mingo, KJ Henry, JL Skinner.
Where are we at receiver?
So we still got Jaden Reed, who I like.
Yeah.
Charlie Jones. They could reach for Charlie Jones. But I think they're taking a big outside receiver if it's a receiver. So that would be not necessarily big, but like an X. It's Jaden Reed, right? Charlie Jones isn't an X. This could be where they go running back. We still got Kendre Miller, Sean Tucker. They're gonna like Roschon Johnson. I'll tell you that right now, because they're gonna have watched enough Texas watching Bijan that they're gonna think, this other kid can play too, because that's kind of how they operate. Could double up a tackle. Sal DeVeri, Evan's very high on Nick Sal DeVeri right now. We had that conversation earlier today. It's safety. Ronnie Hickman's still here. Christopher Smith is still here. Both are potential Patriots. Could go defensive tackle. Keandre Coburn, maybe a little early, but they had Gerard Clark at their local prospects day today. No true nose tackle.
Okay. See, I like Jaden Reed here for Michigan State. Wide receiver. 6 foot. Like you said, they're going to want to go with the X. They have the slot sort of figured out, that the guy that they can move around the slot with Juju and probably Kendrick Bourne too. But they're going to want more at X, right? Jaden Reed, he's 6 feet. He's also a Senior Bowl guy. He played at the Senior Bowl. He played well at the Senior Bowl. He had a couple solid practices. They like their guys in Mobile. Parker Washington's a slot, so that's not going to happen. Scroll down. Who was the other guys? Xavier Hutchinson, maybe. But out of this group, I still think they're going to want to go receiver at this point in the draft. And I see in the chat, isn't Jaden Reed just Tyquan? Kind of, but
he's a better route runner. He's more agile. Tyquan's just straight line speed.
Exactly. So I like Jaden Reed here if we're gonna go receiver. But again, we can.
The other thing we could do, Mike, he hasn't fallen to us in a long time.
Zach Kuntz.
We've got the architect of the 2 tight end offense.
Oh God. Yeah, but we have. I don't know if they're going to do it. I don't see them doing it.
Here's what I would tell you: if they think Mike Gesicki's a receiver, they think Zach Kuntz is a receiver. So look at it from a wide receiver point of view. Do you want the guy that's like 6'1", that's more shifty and agile? Do you want the guy that's 6'7" and runs the 4.4 or the 4.5?
Yeah.
That's what I would say. I don't think
my mindset with these is always, let's take the guys that we haven't yet so we can give a little more about them, and kind of that's why I think Reed too. Like, we went with Kuntz before. And realistically, are they really going to do that?
I don't think they're going to take a receiver here. I think everybody's going to be very annoyed that they don't take a receiver in the top 150. I think people are going to be frustrated, but because like you just said, they have so many guys that can play. Why add another guy to the rotation to just sit somebody who should be playing? How does Jaden Reed or Mingo or Jonathan Mingo or Tank Dell, how do any of these players truly make them better in 2023? It's what I said before, Mike. Are they upgrades or are they additions? Maybe Jaden Reed's an upgrade. Right. He's not an addition. Are there guys we could get here at safety, maybe on the defensive line, at linebacker, that would be additions, that add something the team doesn't have? That's kind of where I'm at. It's a bad wide receiver class the guys we're taking here, like Jayden Reed's a 6th-round pick most years. That's just the reality of it. So,
yeah, okay, that's a good point. If Mingo was here, I would have pushed harder for receiver.
Okay.
Because I think he has a much higher upside. He's bigger. He's a bigger body. He's been compared to the Ole Miss guys a million times over now. The other Ole Miss guys in AJ Brown and DK, right? So like, if it was Mingo, I'd push back harder. But I tend to agree with you with Jayden Reed and a guy who. He's going to be an addition, but is he an upgrade? Probably not.
Right.
So I guess let's look elsewhere.
So, I mean, I look at a guy like Ronnie Hickman. He's a safety. He's going to play, right? I don't even know who's here for linebackers. Ivan Pace. See that? Like, I like Ivan Pace in the theory here, but they're not going to take a guy that small to play linebacker. They do like their 4th-round running backs. Is this where they go with the Damian Harris replacement? If they don't love Kevin Harris. And that could be Sean Tucker. That could be Roschon Johnson. Did we miss? Yeah, we missed Dwayne McBride. Okay. But I could see Sean Tucker, Roschon Johnson.
I like the Roschon Johnson idea.
You do?
I like the Roschon Johnson
idea.
Okay. Yeah. Like you said, they did it in the past. I mean, when we talked about this last week, the one example I thought of, oddly enough, was Matt Castle, a guy who literally didn't play and was a backup, and they ended up drafting him. Roschon Johnson obviously played a bit, but they see these guys on film or elsewhere, and everyone's looking at Bijan, and they find this guy instead, right?
Right. So they do also like take their quarterbacks in the top 150. And this is our last top 150 pick.
Mm-hmm.
Do we go quarterback here?
Who else available? Hayner,
DTR, Toon would be the only 3 guys.
Stetson.
Jaron Hall, not taking Stetson Bennett. We could also trade back and get another top 150.
We have 9 picks right now?
Yeah. We have 9. So we could
trade back and see what
trade back to like 126 and pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah, get another top 200 pick. Okay.
Yeah.
I think this was originally our pick at one point. All right, let's try that.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. All right, so there goes Jayden Reed. We missed both running backs. We missed Roschon Johnson, Kendre Miller. Okay. Roschon would have been good. They might like Sean Tucker. He's highly productive bowling ball back. They might like Chase Brown. Israel Abanikanda, too, is a guy that just runs hard. Actually, Kenny McIntosh. It's another guy they would really like.
Okay.
Who do you like from that group?
So, we're at 126?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm updating the doc.
So, again, they like experienced, productive backs. So that's Tucker.
Yeah.
That's McIntosh. That's Abanikanda. Now, they never draft Pitt guys. So maybe we can rule Abanikanda out. Mm-hmm. I don't think they should. I think he's really good. But I think McIntosh or
Kenny McIntosh
or Tucker would make a lot of sense. You like Kenny McIntosh?
McIntosh. Yeah, Georgia guy, bowling ball type, right? A guy who, like you said, is going to fill that Damian Harris role alongside Ramondre.
Yeah.
You don't have to rely on him this year. It's yet another, draft for next year type thing. He can maybe take some carries off the load, but I mean, Ramondre is going to be your guy this year, de facto bell cow. So, a guy you'd add to the room. You don't know about Ty Montgomery. You don't know about James Robinson. So, yeah, I think Kenny too. I like Kenny.
I think we're all talking about. So last year we talked about the Patriots needing to take a power back, right? And what did they do? And look, they took both. But what did they do with the premium pick? They took a receiving back. I think you actually see that flip again this year where we're all talking about, Deuce Vaughn, right? And Evan Hall, even Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that they like what they have in Pierre Strong, right? You have Ty Montgomery and James Robinson. Maybe one of those guys becomes something.
Right.
One of the biggest things you can do to kind of stretch out Ramondre Stevenson and keep him fresher more often is get somebody else that when it's 3rd and 1, you just got to throw your body into the hole, or 3rd and goal, or whatever in goal, you just got to throw your body into the hole. Who's just that big guy that's going to go downhill and take that monster hit? Kenny McIntosh, 6 foot 204. He's a bruiser. He's going to contribute on the goal line in short yard situations. I just want to pull up the size of these other guys. Izzy Abanikanda, 5'11", 216. And Sean Tucker's a big dude. Sean Tucker.
Yeah.
I thought Sean Tucker was bigger than that. Wow. 5'9", 207. So And then the one other guy you could consider here, Chase Brown, 5'9", 209. Again, I thought he was bigger. Zach Evans, 5'11", 202. So you like McIntosh. So I'd go Abanikanda. I think he has a little bit of upside as a receiving back, and he's got more breakaway ability than McIntosh does. But McIntosh has more experience, and he's the big school guy, right? So you like McIntosh?
Yeah, go McIntosh. Draft Kenny McIntosh, and then take his over on rushing yards, touchdowns.
Touchdowns, exactly.
Because, like you said, touchdowns.
Yeah. By the way, I'm going to pull this up because it's becoming a back and forth. We have no good wide receivers. That's why you take one. Show me a good wide receiver in this draft. I'll take him. Show me a real difference-making wide receiver in the 2023 NFL draft class. I'll take him. I said this back in January. If the Patriots really want to improve their team, they draft Marvin Harrison and tell Roger Goodell to deal with it. This is not the wide receiver class you think it is. It's not the wide receiver class the last 3 or 4 years. Show me a guy that moves into the number one spot on the depth chart. I'll gladly take him. He's not in this class. We are going to take Kenny McIntosh, though, here at 126, and PFF's going to hate that, but that's fine. All right. Yep. And now we got a couple. So we got a run here. We got 184, 190, 192, 210. Still probably should take a quarterback. Still got punter. I think now you look at wide receivers because now you're just kind of, throwing it against the wall, see what sticks. Respecting the board here, Corey Trice not going to fall.
No. Same with Franco.
Yeah, he might be here. DTR went. Clayton Tune's on the board. So is Malik Cunningham, who they met with. So is Jaron Hall, who would be a great pick here. I said we'd look at wide receivers. I do like Ronnie Bell for them. This is about that spot.
Mm-hmm.
This is, again, we're like, you're going just upside because that's what you have to do at this point. Just upside.
Right.
I don't think they're going to like Jake Bobo because I think they want speed. I think they're going to think Jake Bobo is a tight end for what it's worth. Who's here at wide receiver? Want to double up a tackle or take an offensive lineman? Antonio Maffei, Anthony Bradford. It's these interior guys we've liked, right? Ryan Hayes.
Yeah.
A tackle. Luke Haggard.
Luke Haggard's interesting, but it's early for him.
It's a little early. Yep. I remember we got 5 picks left. Offensive tackle. We just did this. I was trying to pull up defense. We're going to look at every position. It's just easier to look by position than just scroll through the whole thing.
Right.
I like Jacob Slade for them. A lot of people like Jonah Tavai. Juwan Johnson, who they met with. Not much at linebacker here. Mo Diabate still here a little further down. What else we got? We got safety. Anthony Johnson's not going to be respecting the board. Now, this would be an interesting spot. Maybe they say, you know what? We like Trey Dean. He fell. But we like Trey Dean. They want to double up a corner, get a little more speed at corner.
Trey Dean, that's not bad at 184. You have a run coming up with you can take shots on other guys at receiver.
Yeah.
Maybe double up on corner, but Trey Dean's still there. That's interesting.
Corner board kind of like a lot of corners went. PFF doesn't have Max Melton. Of course they don't. You got some guys, Nick Jones. You probably wait a little bit on that. I think so. Who were we just talking about?
Trey Dean.
So I like, for the sake of they just met with him and we try to keep these mocks current, I like the idea of mocking Malik Cunningham to them. Although a little redundant with Trace McSorley, I guess. Or sorry, no, it's Jaron Hall. Jaron Hall actually makes sense.
Cunningham is the one that met with them, though.
Right. But Jaron Hall makes a lot more sense, especially now. We're more worried about losing Trey Dean or Jaron Hall.
Trey Dean.
All right, so I think
Dean's going to go higher than people think. He's going to go
lower than people thought, but higher than they think. Exactly. And that's probably about right here because he was undrafted going into the Shrine Bowl, moved up to like a fringe top 100 pick, and this is probably about right. I think this is technically early. This is early round 6. Brenton Cox. We just missed Brenton Cox. Would have been a fun pick here too. But we're going to go with another Gator. We're going to go Trey Dean here. Yep. And then assuming he falls, he did. I do like DJ Johnson as a potential Patriot. Mm-hmm. But we're going to go.
Are we going Cunningham or Hall? Because Cunningham did just meet with them. I know you've talked about it before, and I agree with you to an extent that meetings don't mean much. right? The publicized meetings don't mean much. They meet with guys across the board all the time. But
yeah,
does Cunningham make more sense than Hall? What do you think?
I would take Jaren Hall because I think Jaren Hall could actually be a NFL quarterback. I don't think Malik Cunningham's ever his upside is like gadget backup, right? Whereas Jaren Hall, I think, can be a starting NFL quarterback. But they met with Cunningham. So is it what they would do or what we? But they don't.
The meeting doesn't matter, especially at pick 190. Especially at 190.
Go with Jaren Hall. Also, it'd be really funny if the Patriots draft Zach Wilson's backup and then he turns into a stud.
Yeah,
I would great. And I said last year, like at this time last year, it's like this guy Jaren Hall. Like, I don't see a difference between Jaren Hall and Zach Wilson as a quarterback. Now,
interesting.
Zach Wilson was overdrafted. I said that at the time. I thought he was like a second or third round pick.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't know the issues with Zach Wilson's mental makeup. Jaren Hall was a team captain. There's two things at play here. I think just the whole thing of Zach Wilson and BYU is going to scare teams off of Jaren Hall. I also think the lack of comp is going to scare teams. He is raw, but Zach Wilson was raw. He wasn't worth the second overall pick, especially not in that draft. There were guys with higher floors. This is probably a little low for Jaren Hall, but not super unrealistic. Everybody wants all these Patriots fans who hate Mac, right? They want Jalen Hurts. They want the day 2 quarterback that's athletic with upside. You're just going to mold him into your system. I don't think that guy exists in this draft. Jaren Hall is as close as you're going to get. If you want to make that pick this year, Jaren Hall is that guy. All right, so we're going to take Jaren Hall here.
Patriots Global. I love this comment. Thank you. Draft me at quarterback.
Yeah, lefties can't win Super Bowls.
I actually understand the system. Lefties can't win Super Bowls yet.
All right, fair. Do we want to go punter here? Or do we want to wait? We have 2 more picks, but
Jets punter. Brendan Mann is going to be released. Braden Mann. I could see the Patriots going after him in free agency. In division guy. They need someone. They need a guy at the position. Solid punter. They tried to trade him. No one's going to trade for a punter. It's just not going to happen.
No NFL punters are ever been traded.
Oh, is that accurate?
Yeah, I would have thought Bill Belichick. You're not in the modern era. I think Bill Belichick would be the first to do it. I thought he was going to trade Ryan Allen 3 years ago.
Yeah.
For everybody talking about Corey Trice, we're respecting the board. He's not going to be here. It's the PFF simulator.
Is Jake Moody going to be on the board at 192?
Jake Moody might be. And we've taken Turk, Behringer, and Corsic, I think, right? We've taken all of them?
Yeah.
So, I think punter's bigger need than kicker, but maybe they don't. You want to go Jake Moody here?
Who else is on the board for a kicker?
I mean, Jake Moody's the best kicker in the draft. So, they're not going to draft Smith. So, I'll just, so people know, though, they're not going to draft Smith because they're not going to draft a guy who kicked in a dome. They like guys who have experience kicking outside in inclement weather. Ryland was really good at the Senior Bowl. If it's not Moody, it's Ryland. Podlesny obviously kicked down south. He's not going to be on their board. Chris Dunn is the reigning, I can't remember the Kicker of the Year award name, but he won it. But North Carolina State, ideal conditions. They're not going to take him. Same for BT Potter. Same for Anders Carlson, who I think is really good. The average draft position for UTEP's kicker, who I don't even know, is 85. Oh, because that's probably only in the drafts he's drafted in. So one person took him 84th, one person took him 86th, and that's how you get, okay. I think Jake Moody will be on the board here.
Yeah, and it's the pick. That's the pick.
All right.
Develop Jake Moody. You probably end up just parting ways with Nick Folk. Make Moody your guy for the next 10 years. It's simple. A guy, like you said, kicked in Michigan, so unideal temperatures and conditions, which they look for. So I think that makes a ton of sense.
We just missed on Ronnie Bell, which hurts.
Okay.
We have
2 picks left?
Yeah.
No, I was just going to – I guess we'll reset the board because then we can see what we need.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap this thing up. So we have gone Darnell Wright, Darnell Washington, tackle tight end, cornerback with Julius Brents at 55, Derek Hall, an edge rusher from Auburn at 76. Made a bunch of trades here and there, but ended up with Kenny McIntosh as well at running back. I added him to the room alongside Ramondre, and then the other pass catchers in Pierre Strong. But why am I losing my train of thought? Pierre Strong, James Robinson, Montgomery, and then a couple more trades. But Trey Dean comes in. Okay, safety. I was thinking we needed a safety, but we don't. Trey Dean the third, a guy who tough scouting combine, but I think he's going to go higher than people think. I really do, because he was really solid at the Shrine Bowl. Jaron Hall, bring him in the quarterback room, and then Jake Moody. So interesting. We can go a number of different ways here with the last two picks.
So the two I would pitch are either doubling up on the offensive line.
Okay.
Or here's where we take a receiver. I'd love to see them.
We didn't take a receiver. We didn't take a receiver.
We did take a pass catcher.
Yeah, we did.
Everybody needs to calm down with the receivers. They really might not take a receiver. Demario Douglas.
It's here.
Yeah, if they do, it's going to be, what was 2021. Oh, it's this great receiver class. They need one. And they're going to there's all these guys. They might even double up in the top 100. And not only these guys good, but they seem like fits. And you got Trey Nixon in the 7th round. Get ready for that again. I like Demario Douglas here for them.
Okay.
Really explosive, quick guy. He'd be a top 150 pick if he went to a bigger school. He would. It's just it's the size. He's 5'8", 180, so he's a little small. He's bigger than Tank Dell. I want to see if can I find his 40 here? Do they have his 40? They don't. But he's a guy with some real upside. He's a guy with some actual upside in the slot. You with me on that? I would have taken Ronnie Bell if he was still here, but he's not still here. So
Demario.
All right. Demario Douglas. Yep. And I think they almost always take two offensive linemen, so I think we double up here. Let's see who we can get. I did just see some guys go that I like. Yeah, Servassier Dennis. If you listen to Catch 22 today, we did a whole 10 minutes on Servassier Dennis. Javarius Owens I like. Your boy Stetson went to the Giants.
He'll start next year over Daniel Jones.
All right, so who do we got? Luke Haggard's still here.
Luke Haggard, TJ Bass.
Both like Luke Haggard, TJ Bass. I like TJ Bass because he can play multiple positions. He can play tackle and guard, and I think they'd be looking for that kind of thing.
Dalton Wagner's there as well.
Yeah, he's just a right tackle, though. I like him, but they'll that's the guy they signed as a UDFA. Come in, be a camp body at right tackle, fight for a spot on the practice squad.
Yeah.
They're going to look for positional versatility here. TJ Bass can play, and now that I know I can pull these up, play left tackle and left guard. He could probably play right guard in the NFL as well. That's 3-position versatility. And obviously you have the Adrian Clem connection. So TJ Bass?
Yeah, that's the part that makes the most sense to me is the Clem connection. They want guys who they know and who they can plug in and understand what's going on, right? And
by the way, that's not a Patriot specific thing. That's every team in the league.
No, of course, right. But my point is the Clem connection's there. If Bass is on the board at 245, they're going to take him. It just makes too much sense.
All right, and that's what we're going to do.
Here we go.
So
that is our draft. 6.0 in the books.
Who was Mr. Relevant? Sorry, I always like to see Mr. Relevant was in these. It was because it's going to be somebody Mike likes or the chat likes.
Yeah.
It was just for fun here. Darrell Nakami, an edge from Maryland. I've never even heard of him.
All righty.
Whatever. Okay.
So let me you know what I actually have to do is talk about FanDuel. We went the whole show not talking about FanDuel, but Grand Slams, no-hitters, and double plays are back, and there's no better place to get on the MLB action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. They are the official partner of Major League Baseball. New customers in mass can get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. All you got to do is sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston. Below us right here. Again, that's FanDuel.com/Boston. You can bet on all your favorite sports from the money line, point spreads, player props, and more. The app is super simple to use. Unfortunately, I can't use it on vacation down here in Florida. It's too bad. I'm feeling to make a bet in a good way because I have the funds to do it with the $200 that FanDuel gave me at FanDuel.com/Boston. Like I said, the app is super safe, super easy, and secure. So don't miss that chance to get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. Just visit FanDuel.com/Boston. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and the official partner of Major League Baseball. 21 plus and present in mass. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Hope is here. Gambling helpline ma.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. Play it smart from the start with GameSense. GameSenseMA.com or call 1-800-GAM-1234. All right, so 6.0 is in the books. We'll quickly pull it up on screen. We'll walk through it, and then we'll get out of here and prep for what is the next 2 weeks of draft season. So Darnell Wright, Darnell Washington, tackle, tight end. Julius Brents, cornerback from Kansas State. Derek Hall, an edge from Auburn. Traded a bunch of picks and then ended up with Kenny McIntosh to add to the running back room from Georgia. Trey Dean III, a safety from Florida, who they worked with at the Shrine Bowl in Las Vegas. Seems like a fit. He can play free and strong really back there. So a good fit that they can add to the back end of their secondary. Jaron Hall added to the quarterback room. BYU, backup from Zach Wilson, was actually a captain, unlike Wilson. I like that little tidbit from you, Barth.
Yeah.
Jake Moody, kicker, Michigan. Finally add a wide receiver, 210 with Demario Douglas, and then they go with TJ Bass, an offensive lineman from Oregon. Overall, I think I like it, Alex. But what do you think of how we did today?
They'd absolutely do this. This is very much something they would do.
Yeah.
This is another one people are going to hate on social media, but like this is one that I think I said this in our draft last week too. I said this about a draft. People are going to get all excited. People are going to get last week I said you're going to hate it as it goes on, and then at the end it'll make sense. People are going to love what they did on the first 2 days. They're not.
Yeah.
Day 3 is a little weird, but nobody's going to care because you add Darnell Wright, you add Darnell Washington. You just got, I shouldn't say 2 impact players. Tackle's not really an impact player. I think Darnell Washington is going to be an impact player. And most of all, we didn't talk about this when we took him, Mike. Yep. He's going to be an impact player in the red zone where they have sucked for like 4 years. And you get Darnell Wright, who at the very least is going to be a starting caliber right tackle in the NFL, maybe a Pro Bowl caliber right tackle, and maybe can be a left tackle too. So you get a guy with a really solid floor who has some upside, and you get Mac Jones protected. That's big. And Julius Brents, much needed size at corner. People are going to hate them adding a big corner because they're afraid of it, but they need to do it. And nobody's going to really get the Derek Hall pick, and he'll probably redshirt this year, but he's a guy that in 2 or 3 years could kind of be a beast for him.
Or
and then people are going to get annoyed because they took Kenny McIntosh, who is a running back. And then people are going to get annoyed that they took Trey Dean, who sucked at the combine. And then everybody's going to get all excited about Jaron Hall because it means the end of Mac Jones, even though it doesn't. And then Jake Moody's going to be whatever. And then when they take Demario Douglas, everybody's going to get all mad they didn't take a receiver until the 6th round. And then nobody's going to care about TJ Bass. But
we're excited for the discourse. We like the discourse.
So here's you look at it by picks. Darnell Wright's an NFL talent. Darnell Washington's an NFL talent.
Yeah.
Derek Hall's an NFL talent. You got 3 NFL talents right there. And I really think Kenny McIntosh is too. You got 4. Julius Brents might be. That gets you to 5. You hit on half your picks, you're in good shape. I think you need to hit on more picks than the Patriots have. I'm not defending their draft record. But people look for like an 80, 90% hit rate in the draft. That's unrealistic. You want to be at 100% in the first round, 75% in the second or third rounds, 50%, and then 50% on day 3. That's kind of where you want to be. Darnell Wright is a high chance of hitting. One of Darnell Washington or Julius Brents is going to hit. Derek Hall is going to hit. Kenny McIntosh is going to hit. Jake Moody's going to hit. The rest of those guys are mostly upside players. Demario Douglas, I don't know if he's an NFL player or not. I like his upside. Trey Dean, I don't know. I like his upside. Hall, I don't know, has upside. TJ Bass is just kind of roster filler at this point, but it's not the sexiest draft.
A roster filler that makes sense.
Right. But if they come away with this, I'm like, all right, they did what they needed to do. They ultimately did what they needed to do. I don't know that they went above and beyond, but they did what they needed to do. For all you grades, B, maybe B+. Let's see who they add as UDFAs, but
Exactly. I think it's something that they'll do, and that's ultimately what we're trying to do here on Patriots Beat. So there it is. There you have it. 6.0 in the books. We will have another one next Thursday. We'll have another one before the draft. We're going to do 8 of these all the way up until the first round on April 27th. So thank you all for tuning in. We will be back early next week as well for some Q&A and a more newsy version of Patriots Beat early next week, either Monday or Tuesday. We'll let you guys know. Thank you to FanDuel for sponsoring this show. Go to FanDuel.com/Boston for those $200 in bonus bets. All you got to do is deposit 10, bet 5, and there you go. You're on your way to $200 in free money. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate it. Follow Alex on Twitter @RealAlexBarth. Read his stuff at 985thesportsup.com. You can do the same for me at Mike Kadlick on Twitter. I got some stuff up on CLNSmedia.com right now, and I'll write this thing up for tomorrow morning as well. So again, thank you all for watching.